Nedu from the Nedu Sewing Club. Welcome to Stitched. So every girl needs a wardrobe full of pretty dresses, even little girls. Today I'll show you how to make this pretty play dress. So the play dress is really easy to make, and the good thing about it is that it can be transitioned into a blouse or tunic as the child gets taller or bigger, which is really economical. So here's what you'll need. Fabric, bias tape in a matching color, and satin ribbon. So before you cut the fabric, it's important to take accurate measurements as always. So let's start first of all with the length. You'd measure from the child's chest area, just somewhere at their armhole line or their armpit line, and go all the way down to the desired length. So be the knee. That's your length. And to that number, add a ribbon allowance at the beginning, about 1.5 inches. And to the bottom, add a hemming allowance of about, say, 1 to 1.5 inches will be fine. So total of that gives me my total length. For the width, I'll measure the child's upper body circumference. So pass the tape rule under their armpits, around their back area and their chest. Hold the tape rule firmly but not tightly. And to that number, apply a fullness multiplier of 2. Let's call that the dress circumference, the full dress circumference. Good. Now, with that number, divide it by 2. So cut a bit of fabric that is as long as my total length, ribbon allowance, the length of my dress, and the hemming allowance. And as wide as half of my full dress circumference, taking into account sewing allowances on each side of, say, 1 inch. I've cut out 2 pieces, 2 identical pieces, so they are both rectangles, just like that. So the next step is to cut out the armhole. I have a guideline showing the depth of armhole for across certain ages for a child. I'll put that up on the screen. I'm making this for a 5-year-old child. Thus the armhole depth will be a rectangle that is 7 inches deep and 3 inches wide on both sides. And then I'll draw a curve within that rectangle for a 5-year-old. As always, I'm using a curved ruler to draw a curved line. Get one of these. And I'm marking with a colored pencil. So I'll just draw a curved line within my rectangle, my armhole rectangle. If you notice, I've put the other fabric underneath because I'll be cutting 2 at the same time. It will save me time. One end. A smooth curve within the rectangle. That's the armhole curve. Okay? And so I'll just pin them along the top edge, aligning the edges properly before cutting. So here's my scissors. I'll just cut carefully a smooth armhole curve. One side done. And the other side done. You can see it's taking shape already. So that's the way it looks. The ribbon will go into a casing that will sew, and then we'll hem. So the next thing to do is to sew along the sides with the 1 inch allowance, which I make provisions for already, and sew downwards for the ribbon casing, and then hem. So I'll be sewing with a 1 inch sewing allowance. I'll place the edge against the sewing allowance guide of 1 inch on the sewing machine. I'll lock my stitch and go all the way down. either lock the stitch again or go to a tinier stitch length to finish up. And cut. Now the other side. It's just the same thing basically. And lock or use a tiny stitch to finish up. And I'm done with the sides. Okay, the next thing I'll do is the armholes. So the armholes are curved in shape. So one way of finishing them will be to use bias tape. Pretty much the same way as the rambuba neckline or the kaftan neckline. It's the same way really, just that this happens to be an armhole. So I'll turn this with the right side facing out and then get some bias tape. It's a nice color, matching. Bias tape is wonderful. So the same method really. Align the edge along the dress edge, pin the bottom. So just pin all along the U shape of the armhole. And I'm done. So just put this aside. So I'll be sewing along the first demarcation on the bias tape, which is technically a 1/4 inch sewing allowance. So place it at the edge, just under the machine foot. Lock my stitch. And just go all the way around. Good. So I'll cut this. So I have one armhole beautifully finished. And I want to press it at this point so it's just nice and flat. I'll do the same thing to the other armhole. And I'm done with the second armhole, same as the first one with bias tape, really easy. So next thing to do, I'll fold this wrong side outwards to create the ribbon, the tunnel for the ribbon. So here's what you'll do. If you have a weaving machine or an overlocking machine or a serger, weave this edge, the two edges, and then fold downwards by 1.5 inches and sew. If you don't have one, you could do a double fold. Fold them by 1.5 inches first of all, and then tuck in 1/2 inch inwards. I will be using a zigzag stitch method to finish the edge of this. I showed how to do so in my seam finishing video. Now to the other side. I just clip this down and zigzag. And I'm done. So I'll fold down one after the other, fold down by 1.5 inches. And this is because my ribbon is 1 inch wide. So fold them by 1.5 inches. Use my tipple to measure for precision, which is really important when sewing. So measure 1.5 inches downwards and pin the folded edge. Just go all the way down. Okay? And then I'll sew with about, say, 1/4 inch allowance from the woven edge. So I'll lock my stitch to begin with. then go all the way down, maintaining my 1/4 inch sewing allowance from the edge, the woven edge. At the end, I'll lock it. So I'm done. I'll just cut the thread. Cut all loose threads. It's taking shape already. We are almost done. So take out the pins so they don't prick you later. And do the same thing for the other side. So I'll lock my stitch and then go all the way down. And then lock at the end again. Okay, so now I'll just cut this here. So what I've done is I've created 2 tunnels on both sides for my satin ribbon. And here's what I'll do. It's looking good already. So I'll turn this right side facing out, cut up all the loose threads so it's nice and tidy. And then my satin ribbon, and so I'll cut out 2 strips of ribbon that are each as long as twice the width of my dress. So I'll take this, fold it, and place the folded edge there until it's as wide as my dress, and then I'll cut. That's 1 strip, and I'll do it again. I just measure against using the first one. So the ribbon is as wide, twice the width of my dress. Just put this aside. And then take the safety pin into the beginning of the ribbon. And then starting with one side, I'll pass it through the tunnel we made earlier on. Just pass it through, pass it through. Super easy. So pass it through until it's evenly distributed. So somewhere, you can take this out now. And do the same thing for the back, for the other side. Safety pin through the ribbon, through the tunnel, push the safety pin all the way through. Okay, distribute the even. Okay, it's evenly distributed equally and lay down flat. So pin it down the middle, and then I'll sew a vertical stitch so it stays in place just at the middle. So fold in half and press down to find the center point. And then I'll sew very neatly. Lock stitch. Okay, make sure you lock stitch. Lock the stitch so that it doesn't unravel. And we are almost done. Well, let me just show you something. If I pull the ribbon on both ends, like so, you can see what we've done already. Just pull it on both ends. You can see. I could just tie a bow here. It's taking shape already. So all that left is just to hem the bottom. I'll just use the same method at the top. I'll weave it round with a zigzag stitch and fold inwards. Really simple. Stitch round. All the way round and lock stitch. And we are totally done. The play dress is so easy to make. It's so much fun to make. It's super simple. You can make 5 a day if you want to. So here's what I'll do. I'll just punch up the ribbon on both sides. And tie a nice pretty bow. A nice pretty bow. Bows are nice. So there you have it. Super easy play dress for a beautiful little girl. There. So one thing to do is I suggest you use heat to seal off the satin ribbon end so it doesn't unravel. That's a good thing to do. Just use heat to seal it off. Just in and out will do. So there we go. Really simple. So remember the golden tips of sewing. 1, after stitching, press open your seams with an iron. I showed how to do so in my behind the seams video. 2, leave enough seam allowance before cutting your fabric. And 3, finish your seams. I shared some seam finishing techniques in my seam finishing techniques video. For more sewing tips and inspiration, do visit my website, nedu.com. And to enroll for the next NSC Sewing Workshop, click the Sewing Club link. I'll see you next time. Bye!